into context and you decide whether you should care. There are three things happening in the Middle East that the rest of the media completely ignoring. First one, Egypt is going to collapse, and it's going to collapse soon. Could happen tomorrow, could happen in 6 months, don't know, but it's going to happen soon, and it will throw the region into absolute chaos. They are on the cusp of civil war again. Two, Libya is also on the brink. Oh, gee, I'm glad we destabilized that one too, right? Jihadist militias are looking to seize control of the east, which is happened to be on the border of Egypt. And three, Turkey. Turkey just gutted its military. Nobody wants to talk about this. This is the biggest force for stability and modernity in the entire country and that part of the world. They are supposed to make sure the Islamic extremists don't come in. Well, guess what? They just put all of their generals in prison. This is a trifecta for chaos. Global war, I believe, is coming. Buck Sexton is national security editor for TheBlaze. Buck, let me start with Egypt. How close are we?
It's a question of days, Glenn. If you remember when I called into you from Tahrir Square and I said no one's prepared for what's coming, and you said, well, I've been saying this was going wrong for about 2 years now. Well, guess what? Everyone seems to agree, at least everyone who's paying attention. We have Senator Lindsey Graham and Senator John McCain showing up there to come up with some kind of a solution to what everyone agrees is a political crisis now. You have the former government, the head of the former government, in the prime minister. He is in prison now. Morsi is being held captive, and we're trying to negotiate his release. Well, guess what? Lindsey Graham, he's finally come around. He realizes how bad it is. Listen to this.
Are you alarmed by what you see happening in Egypt?
Oh, my God. I didn't know it was this bad. These folks are just days or weeks away from all-out bloodshed. You know, there's a demonstration that's going to go bad here soon. The police are going to overreact. The atmosphere about resorting to violence is greater than I thought. Yes, I am extremely worried.
I can't take
Glenn,
it.
this is really important because not only do they not know what to do about what's happening, they don't even know what's happening. These are U.S. senators who are supposed to be very closely aligned. They were sent there to help with the negotiations. They're saying, wow, this is really bad.
This is so
We've
outrageous.
been saying this is really bad at TheBlaze.
Buck, this is so outrageous that these two clowns who have stood up and mocked anyone who said, this is going to go out of control, and thousands and thousands of people will die, and there will be bloodshed all across the Middle East, and it could destabilize the entire world. They mocked us, and now they're sitting there going, oh my gosh, I had no idea it was this bad. How irresponsible. They are traitors. They are absolute traitors to not the country, to the human race. They have condemned people to death.
They have no idea what's going on there. They obviously weren't paying attention. The State Department has said that the best they can do on whether or not it was a coup that ousted Morsi is that they've decided not to decide. I'm not making that up. That's their official position. They're deciding not to decide. That's the U.S. State Department for you. In the meantime, Glenn, the only way out of this without military rule, which would be a replay of Mubarak, is if you had elections. Guess what? The Muslim Brotherhood would probably win those elections, which means that democracy is off the table, which means you have Islamists who feel that the power of this country has been stolen from their hands, and they're not going away. So this thing getting violent is very possible, and that's just one of the several countries you mentioned that no one's paying attention to right now.
Let's go quickly to Libya, because Libya is also on the brink now. We have an anti-Muslim Brotherhood figure assassinated in Libya, if I'm not mistaken. And what's happening on the ground in Libya?
Abdel Salam Mismari, he was assassinated on July 29th, very underreported in the media. Why was this guy assassinated? A drive-by shooting in broad daylight, I might add. This was a political figure, somebody in Benghazi who was known for speaking out against the Muslim Brotherhood. Oh, yes, the Muslim Brotherhood, very much involved in what's happening here. Glenn, Libya, Turkey, Egypt, these are not scenes from different movies we're talking about. These are scenes from the same movie. These are Islamist movements on the rise, just taking different steps, but there is some degree of coordination between them, and ideologically, they're headed in the same direction. Libya's government, Ali Zidane, the prime minister, they're saying we could collapse. I'm not just saying they could collapse, they're saying they could collapse. So why isn't anyone paying attention? Oh, that's right, because this was the country that we liberated and everything was going to go just swell.
Okay. Turkey, a NATO country, which was a mistake from the very beginning, but everybody said, well, but the military has to protect the Constitution. That's their job, and that's what makes them different, because that will keep them modern, because they have to protect the Constitution, and the military won't let Islamic extremists become powerful in that country. Well, that's out the bag, because who's in jail now?
They just sent the chief of the military to prison for life in prison. By the way, there were many others from the military who were sent to life in prison or very long prison sentences. There were journalists who have been sent to long prison sentences as well. Look, the military there has been the guarantor of the sort of modern Kemalist state in Turkey. This is what's kept it from becoming Islamist. In the past, there have been 4 times where they have intervened to protect the modern Turkish state against what they felt was creeping Islamism. So what does the government of Erdogan do? He goes, look, we're going to make sure we take the last constraints off of ourselves here. We are going to gut the military leadership. We're going to show them who's really in charge. Glenn, now there is nothing to prevent Islamist ambition from consolidating into a hard authoritarianism there. This is not going to end well for anyone in the region, and certainly not for us.
Buck, the people who were mocking me when I said a caliphate is coming, I heard before I went on the air, are now actually saying, gee, a caliphate may be the only way out of this. Have you heard that?
I've heard that now caliphate is a word that people are throwing around because the Islamist movements in these countries that are either taking charge or preparing for revolution or are making incremental steps towards an authoritarian state are using the term as well. So I think if they use it, we can use it. When they talk about it in Syria, we can talk about it. When the Muslim Brotherhood talks about a Sharia state in Egypt, I believe we have to refer to it in those terms as well. But Glenn, all you have to do is look at a map, look at the major countries in the Middle East right now, even ones that are supposedly U.S. allies. There is creeping, if not galloping, Islamism across the board. We do not have a happy story to talk about. And as you pointed out many times in the past, Israel's just looking around saying, how is this going to turn out? Not well, unfortunately.
Not well. Only God will save us at this point, quite frankly. Buck, thank you very much. What else is happening?